Our first guest is Sabrina Vettori. Sabrina has more than 5 years experience in team leadership and sustainability. She holds a bachelor in master's degree in statistics, economics, and finance from the University of Padova in her native Italy. She has a PhD in data science at KAUST. She also worked as a statistical consultant at the KAUST South Lab and as a consultant for NEOM, contributing to the creation of the food and sustainability strategy for the new city. She's one of the co-founders of and CEO of Edam, a leading company developing organic waste recycling solutions designed specifically for desert climates. So certainly, her passion for sustainability and food is the reason why Edam got off the ground in the first place and is now a viable business. She leads on strategy, business development, new investment, and human resources. So it is my pleasure to introduce such an active woman in the field of sustainability. Please join me in the welcoming Sabrina.
Thanks a lot for the introduction, Zulma. I will ask to share my screen so I can show the slides I prepare. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So thank you so much. It's really an honor for me to discuss with all of you today circular economy principle and raise awareness on issues regarding our food system as a whole. I look forward to present our company, Edam, and a case study that we conducted specifically for Saudi Arabia. So during the talk today, I will give a quick overview of what a food system looks like. So what our food system looks like, just so we're all on the same page when we talk about the food system components, the challenges, and the aspirations for a sustainable food system. Then I will focus on the issues related to food waste and the impacts the proposed solutions, diving into in particular the composting and explaining how the process works, what are the benefits for agriculture, and finally introduce Edam organic solution and our circular economy approach and our case study for Saudi Arabia. Food systems are very complex and they include many players that perform interlinked activities at different stages of the supply chain in the production, aggregation, processing, distribution, consumption, and disposal of food products. And all of these originate from agriculture, forestry, fisheries, and are part of a broader economic, societal, and natural environments that are all embedded in this system. The food system is composed by subsystems like the farming system, the waste management system, the input supply chain, and interacts with many other key systems like energy, trade, and health system. So a structural change in one of these systems might actually originate from a change in another system. For example, if we're talking about policies promoting more biofuel in the energy system, it might have a significant impact in the food system. And I want to highlight this point because I think it's important that we understand that a structural change of our food system requires a very thoughtful approach and holistic approach in order to have a positive impact. So what is a sustainable food system? A sustainable food system lies at the heart of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In 2015, the SDG goals called for a major transformation in the agriculture system in order to end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition by 2030. To realize the SDG goals, the global food system needs to be reshape to a more productive and more inclusive system where is more inclusive of the poor and marginalized population, is more sustainable and resilient, and able to deliver healthy and nutritious diets to all. These are complex and systematic challenges that require the combination of an interconnected action at the local, regional, and global levels. In such a complex system, there are a lot of challenges that are facing different aspects of the system. I am naming here a few. I know that during this week for sustainability, lots of really good speakers introduced already some of the challenges. For example, yesterday, I know that you talked about the challenges of the soil quality and soil and the issues of soil erosions. Our food system currently is perhaps the most polluting sector leading to climate change. We have about 20 to 30% of the total greenhouse gas emission is caused by the food system. We have issues such as water scarcity. Less than 1% of the water that there is on the planet is actually fresh and easily accessible, but this water is stored in rapidly depleting aquifers. We have a limited amount of arable land on the planet, and sadly, the soil quality is also rapidly degrading because of the intensive agricultural practices that we adopt. The food demand is currently increasing, and if we go by this pace, by 2050, we expect the agricultural system needing to increase production by 30%. And there are several health concerns. Actually, in most of the countries in the world, obesity is more of an issue than malnourishment. And food waste and food loss represent major issues in our food supply chain. About 30% of the food that we produce globally is lost or wasted. If food waste was a country, it will be the third highest emitter of greenhouse gases after the US and China. This is to give an idea of the size of the food waste issue. So today I will focus on the issue of food waste, and I will talk about possible solution for our society. So what is food waste? First of all, I would like to give a definition. Food waste is part of food loss, and it incorporates all the food that is not eaten. This happens at several stages of the food system, so in the production, processing, retail, and consumption. In the graph, you can see the per capita food loss and waste at the consumption and at the pre-consumption stages, and that's for different regions of the world. I think it's quite interesting to notice from this graph that, well, first of all, like let's notice that the data are reported in kilograms per year per capita. And you can see how the food waste is actually a marginal component of the total food loss and waste for lower income countries, but it's comparable to the food loss at the production stage for higher income countries. So as I say, today we'll try and focus on the issues related to food waste, and in particular to the pollution that it causes. Most of the organic waste that we produce in our cities is currently sent to landfill, where it piles up And landfill represent a big issue for and a big threat for public health and for the environment, and a huge economic loss because they are expensive to set up and to operate. The organic waste is responsible for about 90% of the CO2 emissions in landfills, and it's a leading cause of climate change. Organic waste is also largely to blame for the production of toxic chemicals that leach into the underground soil and water. Saudi is no exception to the global trend for high-income countries regarding the food waste. Food waste is a major issue here. Each person on average wastes about 427 kilos of edible food every year. That is comparable to about 500 meals. About 65% of the waste that we have in our landfills in Saudi is organic. This slide shows the food recovery hierarchy from the EPA, the US Environmental Protection Agency, where you can see what basically we can do about the issue of food waste. So the EPA recommends and prioritizes actions to prevent and divert the food waste. Each of the stages of the pyramid focus on different management strategies for the wasted food. So on the top level, so there are the best ways to prevent and divert food waste, because they create the most benefit for the environment, for society, and for the economy. So we have reduction of food waste. That's of course the first aim that we should all have. If we cannot avoid the food waste, then we should at least feed hungry people that cannot afford to buy food. So for example, now France as a country has banned completely the food waste from supermarkets. So it's illegal to waste food, and the food must be given to whoever is in need. Otherwise, the other preferred action would be to feed animals, so to divert for the production of livestock, and to industrial uses. Last, we have composting. Composting is a very viable solution for recycling the food waste, and it should be performed once all of the other actions have taken place already. Composting is preferable to landfill and to incineration, although incineration is a common practice in a lot of the European countries. It actually is quite damaging for the environment, and definitely doesn't provide a viable solution, as it also represents a huge cost, and it's very polluting. So composting is a good solution because not just we can recover the food waste, but we can also recover all of the organic materials that are wasted in the process. So we will have waste that comes from the food processing industries, for example, or waste that comes from the farms, the cultivation in the farms, and even waste that comes from the households, from like the kitchen scraps and so on. So the good news is that food and green waste contains precious resources and organic matter that we can loop back into our food system to its benefit. Composting is a process that involves the breakdown of organic matter by microorganisms. So it's a biological process that takes place under aerobic conditions. Composting leads to the production of high quality soil improvers that provide stable organic matter, plant available nutrients, and beneficial microorganisms that improve the physical, chemical, and biological properties of soils. Effective composting requires mixing of the input material and shredding and various steps that actually we will learn a bit more into during our workshop later with Zulma. And for now, I just want to highlight the fact that composting is done under aerobic conditions. So it's a process that needs oxygen and water. And it happens thanks to the employment of several microorganisms and fungi that lead to raised temperature of a pile and the decomposition into high quality soil improver products. This happens if the composting process is carried out optimally, of course, and according to standards. A major obstacle to grow food in arid environments such as Saudi Arabia and the MENA region is the nature of the local sandy soils, which have low organic matter and nutrients, and have generally a poor soil structure that limits the productivity and the water efficiency. So how does composting help to regenerate our soils? Well, in many, many ways. Composting is used in regenerative agriculture to reclaim, regenerate, and revitalize forest and green vegetation. And it can be used to restore the fertility of sandy soils and enrich its water holding capacity. It helps because it has organic matter that acts like a sponge in the soil, holding on to water and nutrients, and provides healthy soil microbial ecosystem that helps suppress plant diseases and making the and increasing generally the plant performance to make it more efficient and increasing the productivity of the soil. Edam Organic Solution was born as an initiative for bringing cutting-edge composting solutions that are targeted to desert environments. We are a KAUST spin-off. We started this project in 2017. And our mission is to solve the wastewater and food security challenges applying circular economy principles. So we want to create a local circular economy by recycling the waste and transforming it into specialized soil improver products that allow farmers to grow more food with less water and feed the local communities more efficiently, closing the loop on this vital living system. By creating a local circular economy, we will be able to establish more resilient food supply chain and reducing waste and pollution impacts. This is particularly relevant during the COVID-19 crisis as the fragility of our food supply chain have been exposed even more, and because COVID-19 affects areas that are more severely areas that are affected by high air pollution. At Edam, we do two things. First, we design, build, and operate organic waste recycling facilities. So we offer waste recycling services. We integrate the most advanced composting technologies with local needs and proprietary scientific know-hows to create composting facilities that are suitable for arid regions. So, for example, we have methods that integrate challenging abundant waste feedstocks such as palm frond and mitigate for ultra high temperature while minimizing the water use. The second thing that we do is to manufacture and sell soil improver products that are targeted to improve the efficiency of the local desert agriculture. Our products are designed by our plant science experts to address the local market needs. Our compost products improve key soil parameters such as the water holding capacity and the fertility, and lead to water savings, improving the plant performance in landscaping and farming applications. We make specialized blends that are suitable for the booming hydroponic farming and indoor farming sectors, currently lacking of local suppliers. We developed two main products designed to increase the efficiency of desert agriculture. The first product is desert compost, the Edam desert compost, which is a soil improver made from recycling food and green waste. It is used to build up and ameliorate sandy soils. And the second product, what we call palm pit, is the first growth medium made from recycling date palm waste. And it is designed for applications in the hydroponic industry, optimized for strong root growth and optimal balance between water holding and drainage. We are a young international team with a common passion for sustainability and qualifications spanning from agricultural science, data science, engineering, business, and economics. Our advisory board includes renowned academics, experienced composting engineers, and regional waste management specialists. We started our journey at KAUST, as I mentioned before, in 2017. And we built our first composting pilot facility. Since then, we've been testing and improving our processes and products, taking advantage of the KAUST Core Lab facilities. And in 2018, we won the sub-funding Edam Accelerator program, where we got our first funding. In 2019, we expanded our composting operation and established strong relationship with key stakeholders and customer segments. And in 2020, we obtained our seed funding from the KAUST Innovation Fund. And we obtained our first contract to build a large-scale composting facility, which will recycle all the waste in the KAUST community, which is about 5,500 tons per year. The facility will become operational by April, May next year, hopefully, if there are no delays. So we're now in negotiation with several potential clients, including municipalities, farms, and food processing industries to expand our operations in Riyadh, in Dammam, at Neom, and other mega projects in the kingdom. This is a particularly exciting time for us to be working in this project, as thanks to Vision 2030, the country is really moving forward in terms of recycling and sustainability. The government established the National Center of Waste Management to draft regulations that incentivize recycling. And this includes the introduction of a dual bin system for communities to separate their organic waste, which is already being piloted in Riyadh, in 2 districts in Riyadh, and also introduce a ban on non-sanitary dump sites, so landfills, that will mean an introduction of a high gate fee for dumping waste there. Second, the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and the Environment is putting forward regulation to limit the water use in agriculture and ban water-intensive crops like alfalfa, and working towards the elimination of water subsidies and promoting more water-efficient production systems such as organic farming and hydroponic farming. Finally, to our case study. So at Edam, we wonder what if all the organic waste in Saudi Arabia was upcycled into agricultural products. So we conducted a case study to show the positive impacts of our circular economy approach. So recycling all the way in Saudi would recap immense social and economic benefits worth about 2.6 billion every year. These benefits break down into water scarcity. We will save the equivalent of about 60% of all the water that Saudi desalinates every year. We will have a 10% increase in the national self-sufficiency, and this implies a huge boost to the local agricultural economy. We will save about 8 million tons of greenhouse gases, which is equivalent of taking 1.5 million cars off the road. and reduce pollution along with other health benefits worth 174 million in cost savings in public health. I thank everyone for the attention, and I look forward to discuss with you. Remember, grow plants, not landfills. That's our slogan. If you'd like to find us on Twitter, we're very active promoting sustainability, and we normally have advice on how to compost at home or useful information that we like to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. It is quite exciting to have a composting facility at KAUST. I think it will definitely have a huge impact, not only in the climate change mitigation, but also on people's vision of the important role of food waste in our environment. So now we can open the stage for questions. You can write them out on our chat or unmute yourself and speak up if you have any questions for Sabrina. So Abdulaziz has a question. Do you want to speak up or?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. First of all, very good presentation, and hats off to all the nice work and sustainability in Saudi Arabia. I just have maybe a technical question regarding like the processing of these food waste. Sometimes you have these kind of like pathogens that are associated with food waste. So my question is, are those removed when you have the method of adding the heat? Because I remember one of your slides was you add microorganisms and so on, and water and oxygen, and there's a step of heat. So is that your kind of like way of killing those pathogens, or?
Yes, exactly. The pathogens are killed by keeping the compost pile above 65 degrees, but below 70, because you don't want to kill the bacteria at the same time. Yeah. So there is like a certain range of temperature that the pile needs to stay in for a minimum of 3 days. And that ensures that all the pathogens and weed seeds as well are eliminated. I did have a slide on how does the composting work, but then I didn't want to bore people too much. But yes.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
well, congratulations again.
To answer your question. Okay.
Very nice work. Thanks.
I have a question. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sabrina, how different or how challenging is to improve an arid soil in comparison to other soils? For instance, a soil in a tropical place, I guess, is not that bad. Anyway, how difficult is to improve with the compost an arid soil, this sand soil versus a more organic soil?
So the thing with sandy soils is that they are low on organic matter, and they don't have a lot of nutrients. So you need basically more compost in order to improve those, and you need to make sure that the compost stays in the soil as well, because the other problem that we have here is the heat. So the organic matter tends to disintegrate because of the heat. So we have ways where we try to make sure that the organic matter stays longer in the soil, and the compost is basically very rich in order to make sure that it compensates for the lack of organic matter. Because other soils, just to make sure that, so the sandy soils are very poor in organic matter, but other soils, let's say in comparison with European soils, they are much more rich. You can see it from like the color. The color of the soil here is very sandy and very beige compared to a rich humus that's like dark.
Yeah, so I was just wondering because so the ones in that we see in the gardens in KAUST, what they do is that they, or I actually don't know if this is what they do, but I have seen that they have kind of a plastic. Then they put kind of the soil, the fertile soil, and then they grow the things on top of that. But it's not kind of improving of the soil that they have here, of the sand. And
So
yeah,
yes, what they
I,
do, yes, what they do is they, sorry.
I was kind of thinking if they do improve the sand and how, yeah, that exactly what you say, how they manage to regenerate, to accrete the soil, the sand soil. Anyway, yeah, that you answering my question. Thank you so much.
Yes, so the problem with this kind of material, so what they do that looks a bit like plastic, maybe perlite. There are a lot of additives that you can add to the soil to improve the water holding capacity. Not all of them are a long-term solution. Actually, a lot of them are a very short-term solution because they end up polluting the soil even more. Because they have like microplastic components that are then impossible to eliminate, and then you just have to replace the soil. So there are solutions out there. Not all of the solutions are great. We don't necessarily advocate for like organic farming. I mean, we understand that agriculture is complicated and you need several solutions to be implemented to optimize yield. But we definitely advocate for long-term soil health. And by increasing the organic matter, that's what you do. You ensure you build up and ameliorate the soil over time. You do that. So what they do specifically in KAUST, they add peat moss, which is imported from Eastern Europe. And it's a material that increases a little bit the water holding. But they only, and then they use other additives, but they only can put so much. So the soil is actually not that great because also there is a supply chain issue of products that are only imported at the moment, so they are expensive.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Sabrina, for your talk.